And this is why I have issues with movies on streaming service. You don't know anything about them and they just randomly pop up. The Gorge is one of them. It's like with a great director and great cast. Where is the promotion? Chase Lehocky here with the Blue Futon reviewing The Gorge. What's about? Pretty simple premise. You have a gorge that's in the middle of you don't know where. There it is shielded by a crazy ass, I would call it an iron dome. Like Google Maps can't see it. East and West Tower. So everyone on the west side of the country, USA, some of the Europe, UK, you gotta watch that. East side, Russia, probably Lithuania, things like that. You get that post for a year, you get this post for a year, and you're guarding the gorge. You don't know what's in the gorge, you don't know what is going to come out of the gorge, and you don't really know why you're there. But of course, this year round, boy, girl, they get involved, and shenanigans ensues of them having to go down in the gorge. So did I like this film? I really dug this film. Okay, this is by Scott Derrickson. If I'm saying his name wrong, slap me in the face. He's a great horror director. The Black Phone. Yes, you could say like, Doctor Strange, even that's not horror, but he did that one. Deliver Me from Evil. The Exorcism, Emily Rose. He does great stuff. And when I saw him being the director for this, I'm like, oh, intrigued. Then I saw Miles Teller. Intrigued. Anya Taylor-Joy. Intrigued. And I was just pleasantly surprised with this film. Yes, the first 45 minutes, you were like, what are we trying to do here? I don't understand the plot of like, us staying at a surface level, but when they have to go down, shit gets real. The special effects are awesome. The creature designs are fantastic. The real practical effects, because it is a mix of CG and practical effects, but when there's like the practical sets of like these skulls and just grittiness of it, fantastic. So when talking about the positives of the movie, like I said, the acting, when you have Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy and Sigourney Weaver and other, side characters, you're going to have a good acted movie, and this movie does it. The look of the movie is pretty damn good. Yes, there's onesie, twosie moments where you're just like, oof, that looks kind of rough. For example, there is a scene where they're driving a Jeep through the gorge, and you're just like, yeah, that's not the greatest looking CGI, but everything else when it comes to the practical effects, the look of the gorge, them having to do these firefights, it really is a solid looking film. The premise of the movie, it makes me want to watch a prequel. Like this, the writer for this movie, I don't know, Zach something. It's just like I watched it and it's like kind of burning my head, Zach something. I could do research, but I'm just, I wasn't thinking about talking this. I don't have an outline like a lot of reviewers do. I just speak. I just go. And some people like it and some people don't. Anyway, there is something here. There is a story here. The reason I say that is, how James Wan was going to do this Trenches Aquaman horror-esque film. This is kind of like that, but on land. And when it deals with what is actually happening with these experiments and things that are occurring in the gorge, this is a straight up, we need a gorge prequel, like Cloverfield. We need it. Yes, this is an Apple TV movie, so I don't know what they're actually going to do and how they rate, like, do think get sequels or not. Because think of Wolves with Brad Pitt and George Clooney. The director kind of like gave the money back to Apple saying, your creativity sucks balls. So that gets me a little bit, angsty. Because even if we get a prequel to this deserves a prequel. Just the thought of it is so fascinating in my opinion. Yes, are there tropes in this movie? Absolutely. Especially, like I said, there is some pacing with the first 45 minutes of where this is going, of the love story and, some firefights here and there. But you're just thinking, like, where's this story trying to push itself? Also, there are some characters they do bring up, which you're just like, yeah, I wish they would have brought that up a little bit more of, like, how people went in the gorge, how people are not being found. Because I know the point of you're going to these outposts is because you have no family, no friends, no interest whatsoever. There's still a social security number. There's still bills to be paid. There's still like, where did this guy go? There's got to be at least someone to be like, hey, a doctor or something, the VA benefits, things like that of like, where did this person go? And of course, you don't really think about that. but the overall premise of the Gorge really freaking works about character design, the acting, the look, just the funness of it is when they get to the Gorge. Like, there's this tree scene where right when they get to it, you're just like, oh, this is where this director came into play. Because when I saw him directing this movie with the first 45 minutes, I was a little bit confused. Like, why did he decide to take this film? Just knowing his filmography, you're just like, you did Doctor Strange, you did Black Phone, you did Deliver Us from Evil, you did Exorcism Emily Rose. I know your style of filmmaking or what appeals to you. What appealed to the Gorge, and is that the second half of the movie is just straight up his style of movie. So overall, the Gorge, it's a fun freaking time. I enjoyed it. Yes, stick it out after the first 45 minutes because you might be a little bit confused of like, where's this movie trying to go? But when it actually gets to the Gorge, it's nonstop, it's fun, and this demands a freaking prequel. So the Gorge will receive a 4 out of 5 blue futons, which equals at 80%. So see the critics' news scores gave this one. So you have critics a 64% with 102 of them, audience score 77 with over 1,000, critic consensus, mixing multiple genres. The Gorge makes for a surprisingly enduring romance until its action thriller obligations steer proceedings back into a more predictable path. I disagree with that. Yes, and in romance, but it wasn't going anywhere. That romance would not have still worked with him going back and forth, and, things like that. It just, so I love that it went that unique, different route. Critics, 80, 77, 64. Chase Hawk here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm Thanks Futontopia. You Blue Futonians, take watching for a great down. Watch this tape tomorrow, week from a month, or a year from every single freaking one of you. And would you enter that Gorge? It's some terrifying shit down there.